Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. All right, we did something interesting a couple of days ago that I haven't done before. I thought it'd be interesting. What we did is I actually live streamed a cooking vlog. Now, I've been kind of reluctant to do cooking vlogs for the last couple of weeks just because it's kind of sometimes difficult to find the stuff that you need at the grocery store. And it's frustrating when you have a big long list of items, that you need for some recipe, and you go to the grocery store and you find 19 of the 20 items, but that 20th item just isn't there. And it really makes it kind of a pain in the neck to do that. So I've been kind of holding off on the cooking vlogs a little bit because of that, and because of all the shortages in the grocery store and all that stuff. But I got a recipe a couple days ago from our friend Karen Ritter. For something called a hootenanny. Now, when I thought of hootenannies, I thought it was some country dance or something like that. I never thought of it as food. But I looked at the ingredients, and it looked really tasty. It's eggs, and it's flour, and it's cinnamon, and nutmeg, and a bunch of stuff like that. And I realized that not only did it look tasty, it also included ingredients where I had like virtually every single thing on the list, save one thing. I didn't have any nutmeg. But I figured, you know what, I'll probably be able to find nutmeg at the grocery store, because the truth is I've heard of people hoarding toilet paper. I've heard of people hoarding water. I've heard of people hoarding hand sanitizer in the past few days. I haven't heard about people hoarding nutmeg. So I thought it was a pretty reasonable bet that I could probably find some at the grocery store. And I decided to do it as a live stream. And that live stream hasn't been posted yet. But what I'm going to do is download the video, edit it into a more concise form that you can watch here. And then in like 24 hours or so, I'll put up the full live stream so you can watch the whole thing. But that's what we're going to do today. We are going to make Karen Ritter's hootenanny. So come along. This is going to be really cool. I thought I would start off with something a little different. Somebody suggested that I do a cooking live stream. And you know what? It sounded like a fun idea. And I got a recipe just a day or two ago from Karen Ritter, who sent something in that sounded really, really good. And I mean, as you know, I've kind of been avoiding the idea of doing cooking vlogs recently because it's really kind of a little hard at times to be able to do a complicated recipe and be able to get everything you need at the grocery store. But I looked at the ingredients on this particular recipe, and it looked really good. And I looked at the ingredients and said, you know what? I got everything I need except one item. And the one item I needed was nutmeg. Yeah, we're gonna do something called a hootenanny. Now, I've heard of a hootenanny, but I've always thought of it as a hootenanny as being like a dance or something, a country dance. But apparently, in this case, a hootenanny is something you bake in a 9x13 cooking pan in the oven, and it kind of comes out tasting like French toast. And I thought, okay, that sounds really good. And I even thought of a couple ways, based on the picture that was included with the recipe, of spicing it up a little bit. So I think this is going to be a fun one, and we're just going to kind of see what happens. So let's get this show on the road. The ingredients we're going to be using for our hootenanny is whipped cream, which will come in, of course, later. It can be 6 eggs. Because I'm kind of doing this live, I tried to get everything ready ahead of time and all measured out and all that, so we can do that. A cup of milk, a cup of flour, some salt, the nutmeg, of course, and some cinnamon, a little vanilla extract. Let's see, what else? We already talked about the nutmeg. I found this thing of mixed vegetables. It's blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries, and I thought that would look pretty good. 6 tablespoons of butter, and let's see, what else did I miss? Maple syrup, if you're into that, for the top of it. Now, I am usually a little bit reluctant to do maple syrup because for some reason it always kind of does weird things with my blood sugar. and a little too much of it. I think it just kind of knocks me off balance a little bit. But then I thought, you know what? We could have a first on this live stream. The first person to go into a diabetic coma on a live stream. That's got to be worth something, right? Got to be at least as interesting as staring at an empty couch for 12 hours. And then, of course, the last and most important ingredient, Tabasco sauce, because I don't make anything without Tabasco sauce. Ha ha, yeah, never mind. I'm joking. Not going to put Tabasco sauce. It's actually going to be Tapatio. Let's get going on this. I'm going to start off with a 9x13 pan. And I'm going to do things a little bit out of order just because one of the first things they say to do is to melt the 6 tablespoons of butter in your 9x13 pan in the oven. And I think since they kind of give you a lot of warnings about, hey, you got to do the steps after this quickly because you don't want to burn your butter when it's in the oven, and you also don't want to pull it out of the oven and have the butter get soft or get hard again. So they kind of recommend that you really want to watch that and watch the timing. So I'm going to start off by preheating my oven to 325 or 425 degrees. I'm sorry. Works best if you do it right. So preheating the oven for 425, and I'm going to actually move on to the second step. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to beat the eggs. So I'm going to, they say use a whisk to do this, but hey, I've got this nice blender here, and I'm like Tim Toolman. If I got the technology available to me, I'm going to use it. Okay, going to beat the eggs, the milk. The salt, cinnamon, and nutmeg is all going to go in here. My vanilla extract. I said I'm all prepared ahead of time. Get that out of the way, get that out of the way. Yeah, I think that's about it, isn't it? And we're going to beat it in the mixer until it's frothy. So I'm actually going to turn this on. I got the whisk tool on my blender, and I'm going to actually turn this on pretty fast here, just to get everything nice and mixed up and frothy. Oh yeah, I would definitely consider that frothy. So next step now is we are going to mix in, I believe, our flour. I should probably refer to the recipe, right? Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to kind of mix in the flour a little bit at a time. I'm actually just going to get a spoon and kind of spoon it in there. So I'm going to put the mixer on again, kind of a slower speed. And I'm just going to start pouring in a little bit of the, eventually all of the flour, but we're just doing it a little bit at a time here. Wind it up a little bit to just get it cooked, get it mixing real well here. I'm going to turn it off, going to kind of get in there with a rubber scraper, just kind of get all the flour that's kind of stuck to the side off. So we can mix that all in there. Let's see, we're still in preheat mode, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the butter and we'll tip this down a little bit, and I'm just going to throw it into the pan here. So that when the oven is ready, we can throw it in and just kind of let it do its thing here. And everyone kind of rags on me a little bit for using margarine rather than butter when it calls for butter. So You shamed me into it. I'm using real butter today. Kind of keep it going, and the oven just told me it's ready, so I am going to throw the 9x13 pan with the butter in it into the oven, and we're just going to keep an eye on that for a second. I'm going to turn the light on in there so that I can, oops, light isn't on there, the light's there, so that I can watch inside so that we can keep tabs on that. Let me check how the butter's going here so we don't overcook. Yeah, I think we're about ready now. So I'm going to take the butter out. Yeah, it's not turning brown. In fact, there's actually a little bit of the butter still, it isn't quite liquefied here. Let me get another oven mitt here, and I'll let you see a little bit what's going on here. I don't know how much you can see because gravity doesn't cooperate, but trust me, it's all melty and buttery in there now. So I'm just kind of stirring it back and forth a little bit just to kind of keep it all circulated. And I am going to turn this off. Clean off the batters a little bit here. And we are just going to take this thing here. This is my batter, which has been on the mixer for the last 10 or 15 minutes. Nice and blended, ready to go. And we are just going to pour this in here. Now it says once it's in the 9x13 pan, you don't want to tip this down a little bit so you can see a little better what's going on. You don't want to mix this too much because you kind of want the butter and the rest of the stuff to kind of separate. Because apparently that's what makes this great. All right, we're done with that, and then we're going to bake for 25 minutes until the center is set and the edges are brown. All right, so into the oven we go. And we're going to set the timer for 25 minutes. And now you're all mine. Okay, we are done here. Cancel. All right, this is going to look weird, so, because it already looks weird. Ooh-wee. Hot, hot, hot in there. Steamed up my glasses. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of strange looking, right? Now let it cool off a little bit, and then we'll see what we come up with. It's like breathing, like the blob. So I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. Like I said, give it a few minutes to cool off a little bit. Okay, there we go. We got a chunk of that. And get some little bit of syrup on it, or syrup, whipped cream. Yeah, that looks decent, right? And we'll open up the fruit here. Throw a little of that on there, get a spoon here. Because I got blackberries, and I got raspberries, and I got blueberries, and you know, those are all good, right? Oops, dropped one. Blackberries, a lot of blueberries because they're nice and small, right? All right, so let's try this thing, see how good this is. Like I said, it looks funny, but it also smells really good. That is really good. That is really good. Yummy, yummy. Yeah, it's really good. Holy cow, is it good? Yeah, that is really, really good. Wow. Yeah, no complaints at all. That was good. It looks weird, but it tastes really good. And it's very light. It's mostly hollow on the inside, which is interesting. So it doesn't really taste like eggs. It doesn't really taste like bread, but the cinnamon and the vanilla flavor definitely come through. It's very good. So I hope you enjoyed that. The Hootenanny was very, very delicious. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure that it should have, bubbled up like that. But some people on the live stream suggested maybe that I over whipped it a little bit when I had it in the mixing bowl. So that's possible. We maybe got a little too much air in there, and that caused it all to bubble up. But it was delicious just the same, and I definitely recommend you try it if you like if you like something like French bread with all the fixings of all the fruit and the whipped cream and syrup if you want to do it. I didn't do the syrup in this case, but definitely recommend trying this if you like those kinds of things. So I also encourage those of you who have your own recipes you'd like to share to email them to me at escapingthemouse@gmail.com. I would also like to thank this month's Patreons. Thank you, everyone, for supporting my channel. And that is all that I have for today. So thank you, as always, for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.